Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Anyone who's been paying attention now knows that XRP has been outperforming the market for over 3 months at this point. I mean, look at other top 100 coins. XRP has decimated, in terms of performance, almost all of them. Literally. I've been sharing the data as we've been going along. And so, again, I said, anyone paying attention knows this. So the truth of the matter is almost no one knows this. Most people are not sufficiently paying attention. So if you know, kudos to you for paying attention. It's openly available information that people just don't have. Broadly speaking, people don't have. They haven't been paying attention to XRP. But with super rare exception, I'll word it like this. Almost every chart analyst in existence who is not biased against XRP and hasn't shown some sort of track record of being against XRP, almost 100% of them believe, oh yeah, XRP gonna go. In fact, chart analysts who haven't, traditionally been paying very close attention to what XRP's been showing in the charts, when they look at what has unfolded, especially over these last few months, and even leading up to the breakout against Bitcoin and looking at other metrics over the last few months, when chart analysts who are reputable and have not been paying attention to XRP see this, like, oh my god, this thing's gonna go. And I've been sharing examples of that sentiment from various analysts who I don't even necessarily follow, in part because maybe I just haven't heard of them. There's a lot of analysts out there, but also if they're not paying attention to XRP, then there's a certain less likelihood that perhaps I'd be as interested as checking in regularly. So there's that as well. But it's just astonishing to see this. And so you might be wondering, okay, when is this thing gonna go? And that brings us to the headline on your screen here from the Crypto Basic. Expert predicts when XRP will break $1, says XRP wants to move soon. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 11:46 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, September 19th, 2024. We have XRP currently at just shy of 59 cents, Bitcoin at 63,849 bucks. It's been moving over the last 24 hours. I mean, it damn near hit 64,000 just a short bit before I started recording this video. And so, not surprisingly, the typical lemming retail speculators out there who fly by the seat of their pants, they're feeling okay right now. They've been in fear for much of the last few months, but today they're feeling neutral. We're at 54 out of 100 on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Can you imagine living your life like this? Whatever the trend is, you're going to feel that because of reasons. That's what humans do. It's so freaking silly. It's ridiculous. Go against the grain here, okay? When the market's in extreme greed and it's been there for a fairly long time, that could be an indicator, oh damn, maybe this thing about to reverse. And on the flip side, if the market's been in extreme fear for a long time, you might think, well, gosh darn it, maybe we're not going to be down here for much longer. You don't stay there forever. And so, as I've been saying, even when we were recently in extreme fear, at some unknown point in the future, we will be back in extreme greed, and we might not have to wait that long. We are waiting for expansion of the market, though. As I'm sure most of you have heard by now, we've never had an alt season without having a broader, greater breadth in the stock market, which is to say, we only see altcoins get propelled, and we have alt season when there's a greater appetite for taking on risk in markets. Because stocks and crypto, they're risk on assets. The further you go out from large cap to small cap, which is to say the further you go out the risk curve, the greater the appetite for risk you need to have in order for those to shoot on to the upside. We've never had an alt season without seeing the Russell 2000 small caps rocket to the upside. And so the blockchain backer, and this caught my attention just this morning, he wrote, Russell 2000 is plus 2.75% in pre-market. Looks like it's going to stab at the last retrace again today. And he posted that pretty early. That was at 5:11 a.m. Central Time, which is my time zone. And we're going to keep watching this. It actually ended up, by the way, closed at plus 2.1%. And chart analyst Dom at TraderView2 was talking about the Russell 2000 as well because he understands the importance of this. You never have one without the other. And again, the reason is Because I don't know, two different asset classes. Why are they getting treated the same? Well, it's about having an appetite for getting into riskier assets. That's it. That's the answer in a nutshell. And so Dom says, price tagged resistance zone perfectly today. This is incredibly close to sending it, watching for a clear break and close above the 786. Alts will likely send at the same time here. Now, he posted that in the morning, 8:37 a.m. Central, and the level that he was watching it for a close was 2,286, and we were just a hair below that, like 2,252, somewhere around there, something like that. You can Google if you want the exact number. So fairly close, but a little bit short. But I'm of the mindset that what's most probable is at some point you are going to see a notable break for small cap stocks, and you're going to see altcoins ultimately get treated the same. And that really, I mean, if you want to know when XRP is going to go, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video, but I'll say, regardless of citing a specific timeline, that's what has to happen. If you want XRP to go, that's got to happen. It's never happened without that occurring, ever, in history, over a decade of history. We also had this from Charlie Bolello. He is Chief Market Strategist at Creative Planning, and he shared this chart titled, our data, S&P 500 index, number of all-time highs from 1929 to 2004. And he wrote, the S&P 500 closed at an all-time high for the 39th time this year. Now, this is interesting. So September is historically the worst month, by a lot, the worst month to invest in stocks, specifically the S&P 500. And it just happens to be the worst month for Bitcoin historically as well. A terrible month for Bitcoin. But check this out, and this is pretty interesting. This is from Seth Golden. He's a hedge fund consultant and chief market strategist at Finham Group. And he wrote, all eyes, looky here, I don't want you to miss this. If the S&P 500 can complete this feat of bullish strength, since 1950, the S&P 500 has made a new all-time high in September 22 times. Now, pause to think about that. That's actually slightly higher than what I guess, given that September is historically a bad month. But also, he said since 1950, so this would be the 74th frickin' year, and only 22 times has that occurred. So usually doesn't, right? But then he writes, and this is where it gets interesting. When that has occurred, the fourth quarter has delivered a positive return 20 out of 22 times. That's right. Fourth quarter has delivered positive returns 20 out of 22 times when there's an all-time high, when it makes a new all-time high in September. Right. And we are talking about the close, though. And so then he says the average return during this time period was plus 5%, including dividend. The only two negative returns were 2018 with rate hikes and 1967. That was it. Going back to 1950. 20 out of 22 times. Now, it's interesting. I don't know if it'll surprise you, but it's interesting that the three times where we've had a monthly positive close for Bitcoin going back to 2013, the following quarter, so all of Q4, each month was ridiculously positive. You can see what's highlighted by this chart analyst Jelly. So it would be interesting to see, what if we do, even though it's not usually what happens in September, sometimes the less likely occurs, as I always say. What if we do? What if we do get, to some degree, a positive September on the S&P 500, maybe even for Bitcoin? It's possible. I mean, it's happened before. It literally happened last year. So sometimes what is less likely does occur. That's absolutely true, of course. I'm just saying, if that happens, the other three times that this has happened, the only three times this has happened that's recorded, has resulted in 3 green months for the rest of the year in a row. And this being, cyclically, where, 4-year cycles, this would be the time for things to really start heating up. I remember this moment in 2020. So fingers crossed, folks. I will not be surprised. Now, in the short term, expect a little bit more volatility. Here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto, Bitcoin USD chart. He says, it's not about the size of the move, it's about the structure / manner in which the move up occurs. Most prior moves up in this range were greater than 20%, yet they all fully retraced because none were actually impulsive. And you can see, he's showing on the chart here, obviously going back to when we peaked about half a year ago, there had been some impulsive moves to the upside, and each time it happened, we were excited and hopeful that it would move to the upside. No one knew for sure if it would or not, but the truth is we've actually, although mostly been ranging sideways, you can see a bit of a trend to the downside. He's stating, though, what's happening now, he's just not convinced that what we're seeing now is the final move. He doesn't think that this is the impulsive move to the upside. Now, we still think that's going to come. He's just saying that he doesn't believe that it's likely, this is likely the moment. And he also shared this post in the afternoon. A push above 65,000 but below 70K would have been ideal, as it would have provided some beautiful short opportunities on alts. In fact, that's still the ideal scenario. And so, folks, what he's saying is he'd love to see Bitcoin get that high, and it's, again, a little bit below 64,000 now. But if he does, he's going to short stuff because he sees that this is not impulsive. We're not in the, like, literally the second we're not in the break. What you mean, it's nice to see some positive price action, sure, but he's just not convinced that what is most probable is this is that exact moment. But he does think it's going to be coming sooner than later. And he's publicly stated that plenty of times in plenty of posts. And then he says, that being said, crypto Twitter is giving me irrationally exuberant bull up-only vibes right now, so maybe we just need to nuke it now. And then he shared a little shrug emoji. There's this post from chart analyst Crypto Michael, and he said, I genuinely think Bitcoin is about to rip to $100,000. 7-month consolidation over. It should be pretty much vertical from here. Okay, so I know that Credible Crypto just got done saying, I keep seeing up-only vibes. It's probably going to go down. Just to be clear here, I've seen enough from Crypto Michael to know that he doesn't literally necessarily mean this second. He just means much sooner than later. So I get it. He thinks that we're at the tail end of this particular consolidation. And he also had this to say about XRP. Because it's true that people in the XRP community, a good percentage of them, not a huge percentage, but a notable percentage of them, a small percentage, but notable, they're feeling a bit beaten down, and I understand why. And so he wrote in quotes, XRP isn't moving. Now, that's the narrative. That's the reason he put it in quotes. That's not what he believes, because right after that, as you can see, he wrote, if only you knew what is about to happen. And so he firmly believes we're going to see XRP rocket to the upside. So, yeah, people are saying XRP isn't moving. Well, you're not sufficiently paying attention. Then, I mean, in the very short term, if you look at XRP against the dollar, I mean, to whatever degree it's been sideways, fine. It's certainly up from its bottom in June of 2022 against the dollar. But over the last 3 months, XRP has been outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum and a whole bunch, almost every other coin in the top 100, as I cited. That's just a fact. And people aren't used to that being the case, and they still feel completely beaten down. They got some PTSD. That's the case. And actually, to drive that point home further, there's a post I shared a few days ago from a chart analyst who I wasn't familiar with, but he got quite a following, 70,800 followers on X, named Polly, and he says, yes, XRP is about to print new millionaires, and he shared a chart. And this is what I keep finding. When I find new analysts, just meaning analysts that I just wasn't aware of, if they don't have a history of hating XRP, what I keep finding is that's like, oh my God, this is like the best chart that there is in crypto, right? That's basically what I keep seeing from all of these analysts out there. It's hard to find somebody that disagrees with that who hasn't shown a track record of just being irrationally biased against XRP. And so the other day he reposted that and he wrote something which kind of made me laugh a little bit because I was like, yeah, you're right, and I get it. He said, it's hilarious how the most vocal XRP haters in the comments are holders themselves, LOL. Doubters will be proven wrong soon. We were just too early. So the reason that I was laughing is because it's not surprising, and it is a little bit silly, especially if you understand the trend over the last few months, and that if you understand that markets find bottoms, XRP is part of this, so it finds a bottom. It makes sense to me, though, because like I said a minute ago, people are absolutely that beaten down. It's like PTSD. It really is. And so I don't believe that it's most XRP holders that feel that way. If that were the case, then maybe most people would have sold and the price would have cratered instead of, moving up against Bitcoin and a bunch of other coins over the last few months. So I don't believe it's most XRP holders, but I do believe, and this is true on pretty much any topic in life, the people who are most dissatisfied, they're frequently the ones who are going to chatter more and be a lot more vocal. So the people who emotionally feel the pain is what I'm saying. Yes, go figure, they're the ones that are going to say the stuff that's negative. Even if they're XRP holders. Yes, that is true. They're feeling pain and they're lashing out. That's basically it. It's what the internet's for. You just, run your mouth, whatever. It's all good. That's what I do. Share your opinions. Then there's this headline: expert predicts when XRP will break $1, says XRP wants to move soon. Popular crypto analyst All Street Bets predicts XRP price could break through $1 before the end of 2024 as it prepares to enter a bullish Elliott wave structure. XRP has faced significant challenges in its attempt to break the $1 price mark. The last time XRP hit this milestone was in spring of 2022, a few months after the 2021 bull rally. Despite numerous price developments surrounding the XRPL ecosystem, XRP remains below the $1 price mark, so on and so forth. Yeah, you get the idea. But here's the actual post. Here's the chart that he actually shared. Very optimistic that much sooner than later. And by the way, just to be clear, he said this year. It doesn't mean that he's thinking it's going to happen December 31st. That's not the argument he's making. In fact, what he squiggled on here, if anything, it indicates it could be happening in October. But he wrote here, XRP will break $1 this year. And he's an analyst who I'm not particularly familiar with, but he's built quite a following. So he seems to be respected by many, 137,900 followers. And so I don't. Maybe he's not one to normally talk about XRP. I'm not sure. But again, every time I come across a new analyst, if I haven't heard of them, it's like, well, there you go. Wouldn't you know it? Expectation to the upside. That is fascinating. But that's not normally the case. I'm telling you, it's. I've been here 7 years almost. It is almost never the case where I would be telling you that pretty much every analyst agrees XRP is going to go. Because that's almost never the case. Almost never. But here we are. It's just interesting to me. I don't think that they're all sitting here copying each other, else why don't they do this the rest? They only happen to do it right here as XRP is very obviously outperforming. But they don't do it. They don't all have the same opinion magically over the rest of the last 7 years I've been here. Like, come on. So I think they're just looking at the charts like, oh my God, yes. Like, they're coming to the same conclusion. Then there is this post from a chart analyst, another one that I follow, but perhaps not that closely. Even he's got a massive following, 596,800 followers on X, and he wrote, "XRP looks like it wants to move soon." And again, I keep seeing this, and so he's got an XRP USD chart on the left and XRP price against Bitcoin on the right, and you can see obviously where he drew the line. That's where he thinks it's significant. He says it's already broken out based on this chart here. And you can see that it's basically at this point where against the dollar's like, yeah, it looks like it wants to go. And that's a reasonable conclusion. This is what I keep seeing from pretty much every chart analyst out there. To think that XRP is just not going to go. I mean, if it's not going to go, then we don't have an alt season. Like, then under that scenario, I would be like, oh, okay, so nothing went and XRP is part of the group, so it didn't go either. Okay, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. I could live with that. I wouldn't like that. I prefer the market to go. But if the market's going to go, it makes no sense to think that XRP is just not going to be part of this. And so that's why I highlight. And I keep seeing this. And so, yes, anyone paying attention knows that XRP is about to blow. But that's a very small percentage of humans. If you got in an XRP at this price, there's a good chance that you might look back and be like, thank God I did that. Because most people aren't going to be throwing their money in XRP until it's worth much, much, much more, as is always the case. Once there's a big old green candle, that attracts, the moth to the light, right? That's what the insects do. They go to the light. And it's not the right behavior when it comes to investing. You don't chase. If there's a big green candle, like even if I wanted to buy something, there have been these instances in my crypto journey where I'm like, oh, I might buy that. Let me start research, and I'll start researching and look into something. And then if it starts moving and it's got a big old green candle, I'm like, oh, well, missed the boat. That's okay. No big deal. And then I don't buy it. And I just stop what I'm doing. I stop my research. The one that pops into my head is VeChain. I mean, I looked into, and I own it now, but it was after the last market cycle when it came way back down. But I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was last cycle before it started moving up, and I started doing some research. I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot of XRP holders are into this. They keep saying there's actual utility, so I started doing some research, and I was like, oh, actually, it looks like there may be some. And so I started doing that, and then it took off, and I was just like, okay, well, missed that one. Okay. You don't chase the green candle, though. That's because even if you look back and you're like, oh, had I actually chased that green candle, it was early enough on, I would have been fine. Do you want to count on that? Are you that confident you caught it early enough? Like, I'm not taking that risk. You do whatever you want. I will not do that. Absolutely not. 0 times will I do that. There's not a freaking chance. But that is how most human speculators, the lemming retailers out there, that is how they behave. And so when XRP starts going, you better believe that all sorts of people that don't know what the hell XRP is, they're going to be throwing their money in. This is not going to be some sort of utility bull run. The way it works is people like you and I that care about utility, we're the ones that keep it from going to 0. We're the ones that are like, no, this makes sense, it's an opportunity. But then in these hype cycles, where everybody's suddenly paying attention to crypto and everything's moving to the upside, you can't pick a wrong coin, it feels like, to these people. Well, then they start throwing money in, and that's where you get the crazy valuations to the upside. So I'm not saying utility doesn't matter. You and I agree it does, right? I'm just saying that what got XRP to almost $4 last time was not utility. It wasn't. It was wild speculation. And this cycle, if XRP gets to $10 or 15, who knows where it's going? I'm not making a prediction. I don't know where it's going to go price-wise. If it's to get that high, though, it's going to be because of all sorts of people that don't know what the hell it is. They'll maybe even start doing a minimal amount of research and be like, oh, okay. But then you're chasing a green candle. Like, that's the human behavior that bites you on the rear side. Good luck with that, you know? But, again, you're here before all of that, and currently XRP is 58 cents. I don't think it's going to stay here forever. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.